So the next use case to consider is the multi-stakeholder project. So if you've ever been in one of these multi-stakeholder projects, especially developing new processes and materials flows, you might recognize the I'm a project partner, I'm wasting way too much time digging through emails for materials and testing information. And by the way, making matters worse, I get so many duplicate data requests from different partners or work packages. It's really a drain on my time and resources. So we have a data hub for projects and multi-stakeholder collaborations. And it's really a simple batch tracking. Well, not so simple. Sorry, Georgia. It's really a nice batch tracking tool. Everything is based on materials flows and chaining together materials flows, attaching concrete pieces of information that are useful on the project setting. There are two different levels to this specific tool. The first is from an individual project partner perspective, and each partner can see in their own inventory, their batch inventory, what is an active material or what's an active batch within their inventory in the project today. It essentially centralizes all of the batches that get created that are still active. You can also see through the Batch Explorer all the historic batches. So if you received something from a partner, you did something to it and you sent it to someone else, it'll still be in your Batch Explorer so you can see a full history, but it isn't going to be in your inventory any longer because it's no longer sitting in your facility. So we have two different levels of being able to see what your batch activity was throughout the course of a project. And they're, again, really simple tools. You create a batch, you can add descriptions, add quantities are required. Of course, that's how materials flows work. You can connect it to different partners within your project. You can add it from existing stock. You can attach different types of documents in different formats. So we've struck this balance between being very flexible about the type of information you can add and how you can add it without adding too much complexity and too many requirements for you have to do this and you have to add information here and there. So striking a balance between the sort of minimum data requirements and then being robust enough to handle a lot of detail. So you can create batches in an inventory, or in your inventory. You can also then click into individual batches and see all kinds of different information, essentially centralizing everything that happened within the project on your specific batch. And let me clarify that statement a little bit. Georgia talked a little bit about keeping your information secure. And one of those things is controlling how much of the information about your processes, your materials, other partners see. So that can be set in any way that the project needs it to be set. So here, the way that we default is that you can see obviously everything related to the processes and the materials that you have. And when you send it on to the next stakeholder down the line, then they get access to that information. But it doesn't keep passing down and down and down if that's not already set up in permissions. So very controllable who sees what for which purposes. Then that's all built into the software. The other thing that is possible here is that you can run processes on different batches. So I have some material in my inventory. Maybe I'm shredding it. You can track everything that happens to a specific batch of material, split it into sub batches, send it to different partners. It's all here and chains all of these flows of goods together. The other cool thing that you can see is the different flows of materials between you and your suppliers and your essentially buyers, or who's accepting materials on the other side. So you also get a nice draggable Sankey visual to show everything that's going on. Lots of different information here available on an individual project partner level. There's also, we call it an auditor view, but if you're a project lead or a work package lead and you should have access to more information, that's also possible here. And So this audits review allows you to see all of the flows between all of the partners, all of the active inventory, all of the historic batches that have been flowing through a project. So very, very flexible, controllable access and different ways to be able to centralize that information within a project and take some of the inefficiencies out.